Cobra Jet Showdown. Cobra Jet cars, we need you to the stadium lanes.
Welcome to Ford. You guys ready? Hang out? Alright, let's check this out. Walk this way. So yeah, I don't know, probably 20 years ago, somebody let me in the door just like I let you guys in. Did a little interview. I've been here ever since. Welcome to Ford Motor Company and EMDO, Engine Manufacturing Development Operations. That's the name of this particular facility. My name is Jim Ronzello, and I'm an engine prototype mechanic. Also do an engine familiarization class right here in this room. This is the actual classroom, believe it or not, for the class. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this particular building. This building is known as the Whitaker Building. Okay, it was a nut and bolt facility prior to Ford purchasing it. I'm not even sure the year. But what I'd like to speak of is the fact that I knew a guy by the name of George Whitaker. And George Whitaker was a customer of mine when I owned a store nearby. And he came in, and according to George, he was hired by Henry Ford himself. And Henry Ford, if you didn't know it, his family owned farms. His dad had farms, and this was all farms. Well, the Whitakers owned farms as well in this area, in the Melvindale area, actually. And supposedly, as the story is told from George, Henry hired him and actually put him to work at his home at the Fairlane Estate. And he worked in the powerhouse over there with a couple different guys, and knew Henry on a first name basis. I don't know how you feel about Henry Ford, but to me, he's a hero. He's a local hero that actually, I feel fortunate to be able to work at a company that he started and the family still owns. So it's kind of cool, kind of unique in the world we're in now.
I've known Jim for more than 10 years now, probably closer to 15 at the very least. I knew him when I was a tiny little child. He used to work at an old sub shop with my mother, so, I've known him for a really long time. My mother just married him a couple of years ago, so he is my stepdad, and he's constantly out of the house working on cars.
Back when I was a kid, in the 60s, my brother, who was 10 years older than me, brought his hot rods and his friends all over, and next thing you know, I was just in love with cars. So one thing led to another, started racing them, but unfortunately, not enough money to really race a car, so I had to work on it myself, right? Got a job at an engine shop, working on stuff, ended up there 10 years, but that was my vehicle really to get hired here at Ford Motor Company and work with internal combustion engines, okay? So, I'm hired in to do prototype engine work. However, because of my experience at the engine shop, I had a supervisor come up and say, how do you feel about teaching an engine familiarization class? Well, I did it, and probably had 2,000 people come through this class since about 1995. It's basically because I wasn't a college student, more of a mechanic kind of guy. I had more, let's call it street words to tell these people. So it kind of like makes them understand a little bit better, I think, how engines work. So it's part of what I do here. We, probably twice a month now I do this engine class. So if you look around, there's a lot of different engines in here. And basically there's a lot of parts that I took out of the trash. And I keep those parts here because it's a lot easier to answer questions from people like yourselves to show them how the things work, rather than to sit here and talk and put everybody to sleep. Jim Ronzello. I'm with the second generation Cobra Jet program, being that we have one of the very first cars ever sitting here, the beginning of that program, 2008. A little bit of history. Ford got involved with the NHRA and the Sportsman Racer back in 1968 with Cobra Jet Mustangs. At that time, very successful. Some of them still being raced today. But then again, years later, for the year 2008, they decided to get involved with Sportsman Racing and NHRA again. And lucky for me, I was one of the last remaining salary employees that still raced NHRA. And I got invited to some meetings with Ford Racing, which is now Ford Performance, and was able to get on the ground floor with this particular car. Production engine will eventually be produced. Okay, so most of the things are learned here so to ensure our customers don't have a problem. Okay. The calendar's a little messed up, but it's humid in here. This particular car, this yellow one right here, that's my own personal car. Got is a 5.4 dual overhead cam, 4-valve supercharged engine. This is a 2008 Cobra Jet engine, but it is based off of the 2007 through 2012 GT500 Shelby Mustang engine. Okay, so for the Cobra Jet, they just simply enhanced the engine slightly and was able to make that legal for NHRA for us racers to run. I enjoy this engine particularly because it's so durable, and it's something I've worked with in the last few years at work. So it works well for me. I kind of specialize in the overhead cam.
Like I said, he is constantly out of the house. He's always talking with his friends about cars and stuff like that. So if anything, it's the story of his life. You know, he's grown throughout it. He has a job in the industry. He goes out and races at these tracks almost bi-weekly, it feels sometimes. So he's really passionate about his work.
You know, I didn't come from money, so I was interested in the cars only because of my brother's influence, 10 years older than me. So come 1964, 65, 66, all these hot rods started coming around because my brother was that much older than me in those days. So it was a natural thing for me to be interested in the cars. So we had Detroit Dragway 10 minutes from our house. He would take me there as a kid. It was great. I mean, I loved it. So it was a natural transition for me.